Calling our City Commission meeting to order on July the 23rd at 5:30 p.m. This time we'll have the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance led by our chaplain, Frank Stevens.
Let's please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, today we pray for our city fathers and the leaders as they have the responsibility to watch and guide over the city of Lynn Haven. We thank you, Lord, that you've blessed our city with leadership that pursues what is best for our city. Grant them wisdom, grant them discernment for the decisions they make tonight. Also pray protection and blessing over our city police officers and firefighters, our first responders, as they fulfill their duties in protecting the city, and then the city employees as they fulfill their duties to the citizens of this city. We thank you for their commitment. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
This time we have our public commentary. First person up is Pamela.
Hello, my name is Pamela Stampnick, and I live in the Landings in Lynn Haven, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Landings Owners Association. And I would like to request that the speed limit in the Landings or on Landings Drive be reduced from 25 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour. The reason is that the road in our neighborhood is a little bit windy, and there's a lot of vehicles that get parked in the street there. There's a lot of kids and people that are out bicycling and walking and running, and often they're forced into the street because the sidewalks are flooded from the rain or from the sprinklers, or there's just cars blocking the road there. As an example, there's a couple neighborhoods nearby, the Hidden Ridge and Hillcrest, which both have 15-mile-an-hour speed limits. And they're a similar size neighborhood, and they have no outlet as we do. That's it. I just think it would be much safer for a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. Pardon me?
Thank you. That's on 390.
Yeah, it's off of 390 between Transmitter and 389.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Christy McElroy.
Good evening, Commissioners. Christy McElroy, Port St. Joe. You know, when clergy comes up here, I would love to see a woman clergy person lead the prayer at some point.
We have asked women and they've declined.
Keep asking.
We've
and
asked and
when
they've declined.
Stop interrupting me, please.
Please don't do that. I'm just responding to your question. We've asked and they've declined.
Well, you can wait until I'm finished. The second thing is when I hear the fathers of the city, there's mothers of the city too. So, and the other thing that I find interesting is when you are supposed to be praying, you pray for everyone, not just the people for their wisdom that are sitting in the big chairs, but also for the citizens and the taxpayers. I think they're the ones that really need the prayers. I want to go back and revisit the documents that I had the last time. One of them was the false testimony that the city manager gave to an FBI agent. I've given y'all all that packet. I do want to revisit that with you, probably live and in person at some point. But I also want to go back to the packet. And, you know, in this packet, you also see a letter from the city manager to a past sitting commissioner talking about incompetent employees who don't show up for work and put the city in harm's way and who are constantly insubordinate and you wouldn't want these people to be a part of your business. I think it's time to recall and ask for maybe a grievance committee for the city. I'm really concerned about the employees. I do want to say this. If employees have a problem with anyone that is, they feel like is bullying them, the best thing that an employee can do is write an email or a letter to their next, to their supervisor. And that would be a wise thing to do, especially if you're being bullied. I think a lot of people do it after the fact, after they've already been dismissed, and people should not be afraid to come forward and say, I don't feel comfortable with what you're asking me to do, or I am being bullied. That is not appropriate in the United States of America, and certainly not in our court systems. The last thing I do want to go over is, the gentleman that was the victim of the hit and run that Chief Ramey participated in was an African-American man. So for us to be called, that
Call to order.
For us to be called
That's
that
your
we
time.
are
Thank you.
racist is ridiculous.
Ask that you please adhere to the 3-minute time limit, please. All right, Ms. Parker.
Good evening. Mayor, last several weeks ago, you had made an assertion that we asked, you named us by name, saying that we requested to disband the city. You told me you would not answer the question when I came up to you afterwards. And you said to Google news reports. Well, I did. Guess what I found? Not what you said. This is of February of 2023, and it's on WMBB. The question of whether or not Lynn Haven Police Department should be disbanded has been raised several times over the past couple of years. Doesn't mention anyone's name, doesn't mention a citizen, doesn't mention a commissioner, it doesn't mention anyone. So what I'm asking is, since you publicly made that assertion, that you also publicly apologize for what you said, unless you can prove the evidence, which I have not found, and which you're unwilling to give. That's the first thing. The other thing is, I told you every single time, I'm gonna talk about Chief Ramey. You gotta quit taking sin and making it okay. And you, Pastor, should know that. There is a long history of his situations. It's layers of wrongdoing. It's layers of unethical behavior. And why this commission just ignores it is beyond me. These are not our opinions. This is proof that has been provided to you guys. Lastly, just want to read this thing that I follow this philosopher. This constant lying is not aimed at making the people believe a lie, but ensuring that no one believes anything anymore. A people that can no longer distinguish between truth and lies cannot distinguish between right and wrong. And such a people, derived of the power to think and judge, is without knowing and willing it, completely subjected to the rule of lies. With such a people, you can do whatever you want. And this administration is doing just that, without regard to citizen input when they come up here and give you factual information. I'm not a pot stirrer. I'm not a troublemaker. I'm here to make things better. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the mayor's report. We did hear requests from the HOA representative from the Landings to consider reducing their speed limit from 25 to 15. Would ask that the Traffic Safety Committee look into their concerns in the Landings regarding the speeding and vehicles parking in the road. I'm not sure if there's any HOA standards that would I know some HOAs have where the vehicles don't park in the road or they can't park in the road overnight and such as that. So that may be something that the HOA has to sort of enforce in regards to changing their rules about where people can park and how long they can park there and such. But would ask that if the Traffic Safety Committee could look into those speeding concerns in the Landings neighborhood. Speaking of speeding, I did get a chance to meet with the residents, about 15 of them from Mowat Highlands at the Senior Center for a town hall to discuss the speeding investigation that was conducted per the concerns that were expressed by some of the residents in Mowat Highlands. And so speed bumps, which are different than speed humps, have been installed in Mowat Highlands, and that created a bit of a stir with some of the residents. But being able to provide the data to them, I think we all came to the conclusion that speeding is an issue, and that hopefully we can all agree on a way to deter speeding in the neighborhood. So as of right now, there are speed humps on Dundee, and then there's one speed hump on 24th Street. From my understanding, I think two pets were killed on 24th Street, in addition to the speeding that's there in excess of 68 miles an hour on 24th and 53 miles an hour on Dundee. So I think we did have a good discussion. I was able to provide that information to the city manager for her to take back to the Traffic Safety Committee, some of the recommendations and questions that the neighbors had in regards to speed deterrence in the neighborhood. So within the next 3 months, we will review all of this and then get a chance to follow back up with the residents of Mowat Highlands on an update so that we can continue to keep our community safe. So that is my report for today. Commissioner Peebles.
Thank you, Mayor. This past week, I did the League of Cities ethics training. I just wanted to say how informative that was. They had a current city or municipal lawyer giving the training, and it was really informative. It was really cool to see a training like that was not simply to check off the box, that it was very informative and in a way to learn things, and it's fantastic. Leagues of Cities does a fantastic job with what they do, and I'm really, really excited for what's to come with League of Cities and all that they're doing. And then next I have a coffee meetup at SOLA this Saturday at 8 o'clock. If anyone wants to come and sit down and talk to me about what's on your mind, or pick my brain or me pick your brain or whatever, I'm looking forward to being able to talk with you. And with that, I just want to say thanks to all the staff for all they've been doing over this past month. This crazy weather and heat and getting out there and doing your job every day. Really do, truly do appreciate it. Nothing that happens in this city couldn't happen without the staff. So I really do appreciate it. And with that, that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Perno.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to keep it brief, but thank everybody as well, our city staff and everybody, and got a lot of people have talked to me, and talked to the developer and this Bedford Park townhomes that we're going to be looking at later tonight. I wanted to thank everybody who resides in the area who has their feelings about it. It was great to have the workshop. I think we got it all out there, and hopefully we bring the best solution or the best way to go forward to everybody tonight. The only other thing that really sticks out is I've got a lot of questions presented to me about what's going on 12th Street right now. When you turn at the Circle K and head toward 390, there's silt fence on both sides of the road there, and they're widening the shoulders. And I got explanation from Bobby because I had citizens asking me about it. So I wanted to just again make it public knowledge that the county is expanding the shoulders on both sides of the road, and they're going to add additional 6 foot of shoulder for pedestrians and bike traffic. And knowing that that's going on, ultimately will be a good thing, but hoping they get it done before school starts. And I think it's going pretty fast. So with that being said, I just want to thank everybody again, and that's my report. So.
Thank you. Do you or Commissioner Vandegrift have any updates from the TPO?
Our next meeting is in August.
Okay.
They did the last meeting. They did the priorities. We voted on that, the 5-year priorities. There will be next meeting. There will be hopefully there'll be more clarity on whether or not the TPO is going to move forward with the transportation authority, the authority for Bay County. So they want to create a transit authority versus, and that's a lot of red tape. That's why baloney's wrapped in a lot of red tape. You know what I mean? But it went through session last year. It didn't get a look. It didn't get a sniff from the legislators. But there's wording. There's stuff that needs to be worked on, and they know what they have to do. So if there is going to be a transit authority, it has to get reworked or tweaked, so to speak, and then sent back through session this year, hopefully to get looked at and see. So just a different way of funding the Bay County Transit through the TPO and whatnot, and it creates a better way to get federal funding, federal dollars to flow through. So.
All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, Commissioner Ward, welcome back.
Thanks. I don't have a whole lot. I'm just glad to be back in town. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. Normally I have my time with the commissioner this past Saturday, but was not able to do that. So I'm going to do it this Saturday at Tacos Way at 11:30. Anybody wants to come talk to me. And that's all I have. Thanks.
All right, Commissioner Vandegrift.
I also had many questions about what's going on 12th Street. So I'm glad that Commissioner Perno explained publicly what all is going on. I mean, I did privately to those citizens that inquired. So that's all I have. Nothing else.
All right, thank you, City Manager.
Kiki.
Good evening. Questions about the warrant list?
Yes, I have a couple. Normally, I know I ask you beforehand. Sorry, I didn't have an opportunity to, but the one that says Integrity G, I think that's Integrity Group.
It is.
What's that for?
That's for the CDBG grants. This is our consultant who are working for that, and they charge a percentage of the grant.
Okay, and go ahead.
I'm sorry, one
That's all right.
last thing I wanted to let you know that reaches back several years. They're just now catching up on doing their invoicing.
Okay, all
So that's the bulk of what we will be paying.
right. And the one for Hancock Bank, what is that for?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, sir.
Hancock Bank?
Oh, that's the credit card payments.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, Kiki. So a couple of things going on in Parks and Ground, and we are very, very grateful for the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts here. They have been hard at work, just beautifying our city a lot. We had the Eagle Scout candidate from Lynn Haven Troop 321. His name is Daniel, and he did a community service project, and I wanted to give shout out to him at the animal shelter. He built a catio, like patio, but it's a catio, and it's a small playroom for cats that are housed at the shelter, and they come out and they play and hang out and go back. So thank you so very much for doing that. We had several other troops in Troop 321 that have joined in community service projects at the Bart Park. The Scouts constructed a play platform area for the small dogs. And then we had Girl Scouts out. Riley, a Gold Award candidate, has been constructing 15 Blue Jay birdhouses that will be painted by the troop members and strategically planted or put on the Lynn Haven rails or trails in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Thank you, Lynn Haven Elementary School, Deer Point Elementary School recently donated a little library to Lynn Haven Bayou Park and Reserve under our outdoor pavilion. So some really great things that are going on. And then lastly, we will be installing and putting in some new playground equipment and shade sails in Porter Park, so that's going to be really important. Congratulations to Beef O'Brady's kickball team. They were sponsored by Commissioner Perno, and they actually won the championship. And so congratulations there. The Boys and Girls Club is now open, and I'm encouraging citizens that live in Lynn Haven to go on and sign up for aftercare for the school season. They filled up pretty fast this summer. Actually, they were full. So if you need aftercare assistance, please contact the Boys and Girls Club. We are working on Music by the Bay, which is coming up very soon. And one of the things that we want to make sure that voters understand that when we have Music by the Bay, which is in Porter Park, that the boat ramp and everything around it will be closed. So we hope that voters will be putting some signs out very soon about that. There is a CARA advisory board meeting this Wednesday online at 3 p.m. Anyone can attend. August 8th is our workshop for comprehension planning. Remember, we're going to have that probably last month, and then the presenter came down sick, so we rescheduled that for August 8th at 5 o'clock. And many of you do ask about grass being cut along the right-of-ways or sometimes on the medium. That's on 390. That is actually done by DOT, and we try very hard to just put in lots of phone calls to get them to cut that area, get them to cut Highway 77 on the right-of-ways, not the medium. But we just want you to know that we are diligently working to keep our city clean. And Mayor, that is my report.
Thank you. City Attorney.
No report.
All right, moving on to our consent agenda, approval of the minutes for 7/11/24, approval of settlement and release of all claims between Richard Taylor and the City of Lynn Haven, approval of amendment number 1 to agreement number LPA 320-0320 between Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the City of Lynn Haven, approval for a final RV extension for an additional 6 months on property 706 West 8th Street for delayed reconstruction for post-Hurricane Michael, and approval to accept the fiscal year 24 employee benefits plan and associated costs. Is there a motion for this consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Perno, second by Commissioner Peebles. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift, Mayor Nelson.
Yes. Motion passed. Moving on to our old business, quasi-judicial public hearing. Officially, this hearing never closed. We paused it, so we're reopening it at 5:54 p.m. If you've already been sworn in, then all of that is still applied at this moment. Is there anyone new that will be testifying during the hearing time or during the testimony period that needs a swearing in? Okay. If not, we'll move forward. Ms. Richards.
Thank you. I'm going to run through the presentation, and then I'm just going to read some additional information for the public. So this is an application for development order for Bedford Park Townhomes. The applicant is McRutherford 26 LLC, as is the owner. The agent is Scott Rutherford from SCR and Associates, Northwest Florida. The project engineer is Scott Rutherford from SCR and Associates, Northwest Florida. And the reviewing engineer is Chris Short from Dewberry, and they are all here this evening. The parcel number is 11823-080-000, and the property is located on East 26th Street. It is approximately 31.16 acres in size and has 3 land uses situated upon it. It has 6.48 acres of mixed use, 11.8 acres of high-density residential, and 12.88 acres of conservation, and it is currently vacant. The applicant is asking for a development order approval to construct 154 townhomes, plus the stormwater infrastructure and landscaping to support it. Before I read the recommendations, I am going to read from the Commission Agenda report. So this development order application was presented to the City Commission at their regular meeting held on June 25th, 2024, at which time the Commission moved to table the item and schedule a workshop. The workshop was held on July the 10th at 5 p.m. in the Commission chambers, with the primary concern of the Commission being that the traffic counts from the traffic study were conducted while school was out of session. Therefore, the results were not indicative of the reality of the situation on the roads regarding traffic congestion. There were also concerns about the intersection of East 26th Street and Minnesota Avenue, which is very busy during the school semester, but was not showing a deficiency in the submitted traffic impact analysis. There was discussion about new traffic counts being conducted during the school semester and also the possibility of phasing the development. The item was placed on the agenda of the Commission meeting held on July the 11th, and at that Commission meeting, the applicant asked if the item could be moved to the agenda of tonight, July the 23rd. City staff and the city manager met with the developer on Thursday, July the 18th, to discuss a possible remedy. And the result of the meeting was an agreement by the developer to accept certain contingencies to the development order if the City Commission were in agreement. So, going back to the submitted traffic impact analysis that was required of the developer, the city's contracted traffic engineer recommended that an eastbound turn lane be constructed at the intersection of East 26th Street and County Road Northeast Avenue, because the project at build-out would result in a capacity deficiency that would be potentially a safety issue. They recommended that the turn lane should be at least 200 feet in length, 150 feet of storage, and a 50-foot taper. The Planning Commission recommendation was approval of the development order application conditional upon the construction of an eastbound right turn lane at the intersection of East 26th Street and County Road 389, but that was by a 4-1 vote, and that was on June 4th. The staff recommendation following the meeting the staff had with the developer is that an eastbound right turn lane is installed at the intersection of East 26th Street and County Road 389 Northeast Avenue prior to the submittal of the Phase 2 final plat. The Phase 1 plat would have 62 dwelling units. So a phasing plan was submitted, breaking the 154 units up into 3 sections. The first section of that would be 62 dwelling units. This is way under the number of units that would trigger the need for the right turn lane, and it would give the City Commission an opportunity to take a look at a new traffic impact analysis, which is the second contingency. A new traffic impact analysis being submitted to the city with AM and PM peak hours, with the counts taken during the school semester prior to the submittal of the Phase 2 final plat. So in summary, this is a request for development order approval for the construction of the development with those contingencies. And I just want to show everybody here the phasing plan. So the green would be Phase 1, which would be the 62 units, and then there would be 72 units in Phase 2 and 20 units in Phase 3. This shows the aerial of where the development will take place. That circle on the right-hand side here is the intersection that the traffic impact analysis review said would need the turn lane. But as I mentioned, the school counts weren't included. So when the study was submitted, there were no school counts taken. It wasn't during school year. And also, this intersection with Minnesota was showing as not being deficient. However, if we require more counts during school year, there may also be a deficiency there, which the developer would have to do something about before being allowed to go on to phase 2. This is the land use map showing the 3 different land uses. And here we have the site plan and the landscape plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Amanda at this time before we hear any testimony from the developer?
I have a couple. Okay. From the map, how close to the road is the development, not 26th Street? Okay. Yeah, it's pretty far for, it looks, is the corner of 26th Street in Minnesota part of the conservation area?
No, this is the parcel here in red, and this is the Minnesota and East 26th Street, so it isn't on their property. It's way off their property.
Someone mentioned to me that there is a gate that goes from this property to the hammocks that someone utilizes. I just wondered if that is an issue. I don't know if the developers.
I don't know anything about a gate.
No, you don't? Okay.
No, I mean, this is going to be a self-contained. I think that the people that live here are worried about people coming through, but this is going to have homes on it and fencing. People aren't going to be able to get from this development through to this development.
Yeah, the hammocks individuals were concerned about that.
Yeah, no, they won't be able to get through.
Okay. I said I would ask, and
unless
I
they
did.
climb a fence or something into someone's yard. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any testimony from the developer?
Good evening, thank you. I just wanted to say, no, we don't have any further comments to make, but we just wanted to be here in case there were any additional questions.
Are there any questions for the developer while we have him up?
I don't know if this would be the time to bring it up. The only concern I have, I know we talked about this when North Bay Haven was building another building over there, was traffic during school hours. And I didn't know if there's a way when you do the development to have it where it wasn't during school hours, like cement trucks and work trucks and things like that.
Certainly look at construction routing, vehicular traffic, and time of day that the deliveries will be made, for sure.
Yeah, and, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I think with the school hours, it was, I guess, during the school hours and not during like 7 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I think it was like maybe like a 9 to 3 kind of thing that we were asking for. Just not whenever there's high traffic during the school time is what we asked during that time that was out there for that. But
We'll include that in our construction sequencing plan for sure.
right. Any additional questions? All right, thank you. Is there any further testimony? Okay, at this time, we'll close out the testimony period for the judicial hearing, and I will open it for public commentary. Is there any comments from the public on this? All right, no comments from the public. Any discussion from the commission?
I just think that based on the workshop and what we've all discussed and what the developer brought back to us, I mean, to do it in phases, takes into consideration the impact of the project itself on the area, and then it takes into consideration the concerns that everyone had. At the end of the day, Commissioner Vandegrift brought it up at our pre-meeting, is that, we can't stop someone from developing their land, and they're doing everything they're supposed to and hearing us as far as what our concerns were. So, I mean, I gotta give them credit for what they brought back to us and thank them for taking that into consideration. And the fact that, they're not gonna go ahead and rush the whole project and do the first phase, take a look at things is a good thing. And, in the one conversation I had with the gentleman, they said they live here too. And, they don't want to, they're not going to do something and run away. We've got companies that have done that here. So they're here for the long haul. So I got to give them credit. So.
Yeah, we do want to thank the developer for listening to our citizens and being good neighbors. So thank them for the, concessions that they've been able to make. As Commissioner Perno's mentioned before, we want to, have quality growth in our city. And so I think we have another good project that's coming that will help provide more housing to the citizens in Bay County. All right. Is there a motion for this?
I'll motion to approve as agreed.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, motion by Commissioner Perno, second by Commissioner Peebles. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, motion passed. Hearing closes at 6:07 p.m. Public hearing opens at 6:07 p.m. Yes. We didn't do this one the last time, so we do have to swear for this one.
I do. Thank you. This goes along with the application for the development order. This development will eventually be sold. The houses will be sold, and so therefore they are required to submit a plat. The preliminary plat sets out where the lots are going to be, where the infrastructure will be. The development order allows them to go ahead and start putting in the infrastructure. They are not allowed to sell any lots until they bring back a final plat for your approval. And so what we're recommending here is that the preliminary plat is approved, but the final plat comes back in those phases. So I'm just saying that at the beginning before I run through this. So this is an application for a preliminary plat approval. The owner is McRutherford 26 LLC, the agent Scott Rutherford from SCR and Associates, Northwest Florida, Inc. Same parcel number 11823-080-000, and the location is East 26th Street, parcel size being approximately 13.16 acres. The future land use designations, the 3 mixed use, high density residential and conservation. It's currently vacant. The project surveyor was Skip Rutherford. The reviewing surveyor was Jonathan Gibson. And the plat would be for 154 townhomes and infrastructure improvements. So to go along with the development order and the contingencies that are required there with the development order, the staff recommends approval contingent upon the final plat being broken up into 3 phases and brought to the City Commission for approval phase by phase per Exhibit A, which was the phasing plan. So basically, they will be able to, this gives them permission to go ahead and put in the infrastructure, but they cannot sell any of the lots until they bring a final plat to you. Ordinarily, the whole plat is brought back. But because we're requiring them to do the phasing plan and do another traffic impact study, they will bring back phase 1 as a final plat for your approval. And you'll get to look at that and approve that. We'll know what the traffic situation is then. They cannot bring phase 2 back to you until they have carried out the contingencies with the development order. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And the Planning Commission recommended approval by a 4-1 vote on June the 4th, 2024. Thank you.
All right, are there any questions for Ms. Amanda?
So the only question I had is, we'll be signing 3 different plats by the time this is all done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, are there any questions for the developer? All right, any comments from the public? Okay, is there a motion from the commission?
I'd like to move to approve, and along with the contingencies of the planning board.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Perno, second by Commissioner Vandergrift. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandergriff,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. Public hearing closes, 6:12 PM. Moving on to new business, discussing the possible approval of resolution for the additional mid-year budget adjustment.
Resolution number 2024-07433, a resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, amending the final budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and providing an effective date.
As I mentioned to you before, I am continuing to find some things that were overlooked at the mid-year. This adjustment is only for the planning department. It's an additional $10,000, and it will help with the engineering development review, as you've just discussed with Ms. Richard.
All right, are there any additional questions for Finance Director? All right, is there a motion for this?
A motion to approve.
Second.
All right, is there any comments from the public? Motion by Commissioner Peebles, second by Commissioner Perno. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandergriff,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. Agenda item number 16, quasi-judicial public hearing, opening at 6:13 PM. And this is for the discussion and possible approval of development order for pickleball center at the Panama Country Club.
Is there anyone else who needs to be sworn in? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give tonight is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. This is an application for development order by Panama Country Club for a pickleball center. The applicant is Panama Country Club, Inc., as is the owner. The agent was Sean McNeil from McNeil Carroll Engineering, and the project engineers were McNeil Carroll Engineering. The reviewing engineer was Chris Short from PE from Dewberry. Parcel number 08731-000-000, and it is not located on East 26th Street. I apologize, that was carried over from the prior slide. The property size is 15.14 acres. It's actually located in the country club. And the future land use category is recreation open space. And what is being requested is the construction of 4 pickleball courts, along with stormwater infrastructure and landscaping. This went before the Planning Commission on July 2nd, and it was unanimously recommended for approval. Staff also recommends approval. This shows, I don't know if you can see the little star, red star. So we have the golf course, And then up on the other side of the street from where the country club clubhouse is, there's a little red star, and that shows the location of where the pickleball courts are. It's kind of adjacent to one of the golf course paths, carts. This is it's a very small site plan for the pickleball courts, and there's a stormwater pond. So basically, you've just got pickleball courts and the stormwater pond, and they have a parking plan for the parking. Basically, people who want to use these courts have to sign in at the clubhouse, just as they do if they want to play golf. And they have to park at that parking for the rest of the facilities up at the clubhouse. And they have a plan to put in action in case people don't adhere to that and actually park on the road. They're taking responsibility for dealing with that. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Ms. Amanda?
I guess my question, and maybe this is more for the developer, but like most pickleball courts, there's going to be fences up, right, to protect the people from people hitting a golf ball?
You know, that isn't something that I asked because it's not part of our development order requirements.
Okay.
Hard hats.
I guess there's golf balls going everywhere as well. So.
Motorcycle helmets.
I don't know if they're here.
Yeah, I think, I see Mr. McNeil.
Yeah, are they here? Yeah.
Yes, if the developer come up, please. I should say the developer's representative.
Hello. Hey, thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Sean McNeil with McNeil Carroll Engineering, representing the applicant, Panama Country Club. Thank you to your staff. We met with them a month ago or so. They were very helpful in identifying our problems with the parking. We went to a parking operations plan, so I think that's part of the development order application. I will answer any questions you may have. I think Amanda covered most of it.
There's no protection. It's close to that first tee box.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I know you and Buck can hit the ball, but
I'm a bad golfer.
I might hit a screaming hook.
Oh, I
Or
don't
screaming
think,
If you're
if you're left-handed, it's a bad hook, that's for sure.
Yeah, bad hook, or if you're left-handed. But
It's a pretty bad shot to hit from there unless you're really aiming for it. If I was aiming for it, I wouldn't hit it anyway. So
yeah. it is off to the right quite a bit, but I know the first house has a pool in it, and I've been in that pool before.
All right.
Yeah.
Any additional questions?
the golf balls aren't that expensive. You probably should
No.
let it go.
Just questioning, hitting somebody. Did you take into consideration the residents around there about, there's noise with pickleball, you know?
Yes, there's noise.
Yep.
And the setback is 7 feet there. To the side, we are setting it back 30 feet and 31 feet. If you do that, as it's skewed a little bit with the property line to the residents to the south of it. There will be screening around there, and there'll be landscaping between those buildings as well. I'm sorry, between the pickleball center and the residents.
Something I didn't think about until you mentioned that, and I'm sure it's been done. I didn't remember reading it in here, but is this something that's got to get approved by the HOA before they put this up?
Oh, I don't know that, but I do have two members of the pickleball committee of the Panama Country Club could probably answer that. But I don't think the HOA owns the golf course. The Panama Country Club owns the golf course. This came through a vote from the Panama Country Club board members that approved this.
So it doesn't have to go through the HOA because it's not part of the HOA?
As far as I know, there's no, the HOA does not have ownership of that property.
I do know there are members of the HOA that are advocating for the pickleball courts. We have a country club resident here, but I do know there's members of the HOA that are advocating for the pickleball courts who are also members of the country club itself. So I guess, has there been any resistance from the HOA or members in the community?
Well, I can't speak to that fully, but I will tell you that there's been a couple of rumblings, I think, but for the most part, I would say, doing quick math, 95% of people seem to be in agreement with this project.
Awesome.
If I may, I know that I've talked to a lot of pickleballers recently about the public courts at the sports complex. And I've read a couple emails from the country club about the pickleball. In the membership to play pickleball, is it separate from being a country club member? Like if there's a pickleball enthusiast here in Lynn Haven that wants to play on those courts, can they go about becoming a pickleball member at the Panama Country Club?
It is my belief is that's how they're going to do it. I hope so, because I don't want to play pickleball.
Right, there's some people that
golf, so it's
right.
just the opposite as well.
Exactly.
We don't want to carry the cost of pickleball to golfers.
So we want to encourage any pickleballers that might want to encounter or look into a membership to
Yes.
contact the country club.
The country club now for the golfers has a social membership as well as just golf membership.
Right.
So you can do both, and I'm sure they could do the same with the pickleball.
But I thought they were developing a separate pickleball membership through the country club. Is that correct?
Basically, yes. I don't know exactly how they're
Or
going
an additional fee if you were a social member or whatnot.
Yes,
So-
yes, 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 sir.
All right, any other questions? Okay,
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
thank you. Any other testimony? That closes out our testimony period. Any comments from the public? All right, is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve pickleball at the country club.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Perno, second by Commissioner Vandegrift. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes?
Commissioner Vandegrift,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. Hearing closes at 6:22 PM. This time, we move on to discussion only of Chapter 10, Articles 3 and 4. Mr. Ferris, if you could just give us just sort of a summary of what you went over on Friday for the public to hear in regards to what staff is suggesting for these particular articles.
Certainly, we have a couple of minor changes that we'd like to make here. Number one, under 1066, cruelty to animals prohibited. Number 3 is abandon any animal. One of the things I brought up during our pre-commission meeting was the animal control staff typically find, I say typically, it happens once every 2 weeks or so, an animal that was dropped off after, the facility was closed. That's actually a felony. It's considered abandonment. But I also noted today that there are no signs in place. We're going to go ahead and get signs put up this week. Hopefully that'll alleviate some of that and solve this. But I think it's important that we still make an adjustment on this as well. On the next page, which will be item B, at the top it says, if there's an animal locked in a vehicle and it appears to be in distress, that the director or designee may authorize animal control officers to enter the motor vehicle. We would prefer to defer that to PD. I think they have the tools to be able to get in and what have you. I'd hate to hear one of my ACOs, all I had was a brick, So we want to avoid that if at all possible. Down on 1068, neglecting and abandoning, number 4, I believe Commissioner Peebles wanted to include the word if applicable for the veterinary care and treatment suffering. I think that's something that can be easily accomplished. On to Division 2, or excuse me. Yes, 1083, direct control. There's a duplication of a paragraph. Paragraph D is the same as paragraph 1 under section 1084. I propose to omit the paragraph at the end of 1083 under direct control. And one of the things that was discussed was about miniature horses. After doing a little bit of research, ADA actually considers a miniature horse a service animal and categorizes it the same as a dog, provided that it provides some kind of service. So this is something that we're going to go ahead and include in this. We need to do a little bit more work. I sent Ms. Vicki some links this afternoon to make her aware of it. So here in the next week or two, I'm hoping to be able to get more information on that.
All right, did we get a chance to check on the less than 5-pound roosters?
After talking to the animal control officers, they say if you close your eyes, they sound just as loud as a normal rooster. So it would violate noise ordinance.
All right, and so I guess that's the concern is that their decibels are actually a violation of the noise ordinance.
Especially within certain hours of the night. If you can hear it 3 blocks away, it exceeds.
Got it. All right. There any, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
If you would be sure to get those to our city attorney so we can have those updates. And what we're looking at is the next commission meeting, we will discuss Articles 4 and 5 and 6. And then the next following commission meeting will actually bring them all back together for just that one, not necessarily one vote, we have to vote on it twice, but just bring the whole packet back that next week. Or actually, we could discuss 4 and 5, I guess 5 and 6, and then we could actually maybe vote on it for the first reading, maybe after we discuss 5 and 6. So, but we'll get together on that to get that figured out. Any other input on 5 and 6 or 3 and 4?
I just wanted to thank Ty Ferris for all his work on this, and also wanted to point out that decibel rule is statewide, so it was passed, I think, last year on the decibel rule on how far you can hear away. So if anyone asks you about, well, why isn't Lynn Haven allowing certain sounds, it's at the state level, so.
All right. Any other comments on Articles 3 and 4? All right. If not, meeting adjourned.